Bueno, vamos a repasar el vocabulario. So hopefully you've gone through and you've done what you can with this list, and now we're just going to check and fill in the ones you didn't get. So if we read Hola, soy Elena. Vamos a dar una fiesta porque es el cumpleaños de Manuel, pero es un secreto. Antes de celebrar, hay que limpiar la cocina porque está sucia. So you should get that this is Elena. Hopefully you recognize the word fiesta, which is party. Dar is to give. So if you don't know dar, you might want to make that one of your extra words because you remember you always want to have some extra words down here. And fiesta is party, so they are giving a party because it's Manuel's cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. It's his birthday. Good? But it's a secret, so it's like a surprise party. Before they celebrar. Celebrar is one hopefully you got as a cognate. It is to celebrate. Remember with your verbs, you always want to have that to whatever because they're in the infinitive form. Hay que limpiar, they have to clean. Because it is dirty. Well, you clean because it's dirty. Sucia would be dirty. Okay? And they show us some ways that they are cleaning. So limpiar la cocina includes lavar los platos. Lavar is to wash, and Elena in that picture is specifically washing the dishes. Now, obviously, you could lavar un carro. You could wash a car. You could lavar un gato. You could wash a cat, though I don't recommend it. You could wash whatever you want to wash. Barrar el suelo. Fernando is sweeping the floor. So barrar is to sweep. We learned el suelo last chapter for the floor. And el padre de Manuel, the dad of Manuel, is sacar la basura, taking out the trash. So sacar is to take out the trash. Sacar la basura. You might remember that we saw sacar back when we did sacar una buena nota to get a good grade. Sacar is probably one of the weirdest verbs in Spanish. And honestly, to this day, I just memorize it in phrases because I can't get a good works every time English translation for it. All right, cortar el césped. Well, cortar is to cut, and therefore el césped you can think of as the grass or the lawn. Okay? And then I did not put this one on here because it's a little more complicated. Darle de comer al perro. This is to feed the dog. Again, if you want to add this to your list, feel free to add it down here in the tus propias palabras. Bueno. B. Acabamos de limpiar la cocina, pero todavía tenemos que trabajar. Toda la casa debe estar limpia. So, acabar de, we're going to talk about later. Again, not on here because we're going to treat it more as a grammar thing. It's we finished, or we just finished, cleaning the kitchen. Pero todavía is a useful word. It means still. But we still tenemos que trabajar. We still have to work. Toda la casa debe. Deber means, and this is one of the few times you're not going to use to, it means should or ought to. Kind of like how poder means can. Deber is should or ought to. It would go in front of another verb. In this case, it went in front of a star. Debe estar, should be limpia. Well, if limpiar is too clean, limpio or limpia means something is clean as a descriptor. And I just noticed, hopefully on your copy, I'll have it fixed before you copy it. It should have o/a because it's an adjective. Notice she is hacer la cama, to make the bed. And he is planchar la ropa, ironing. I am guessing most of you don't do a lot of ironing, so I left that one off of our list. But if it is something you do or it's a chore you want to know, again, that's what the extra words are for. They gave you some words in a box, so you should have gone ahead and put these in. Abrir is to open. Buscar is to look for or to search for. You do not need to use para after this. The word buscar means to look for. Salir is to go out. It is sometimes also used as to leave. Now, starting now, if you don't use this correctly, I'm going to take off a half a point. See with an accent is yes. See without an accent is if. I didn't stick on your vocab list because it's a little tiny word. If you want to put in your extras, that's fine. But you need to know that see with an accent is yes. See without an accent is if. Traer is to bring. Now, you may be noticing I have some words with stars. Those words with stars either have a weird yo or they are a stem changing verb. There's a bunch of them this chapter because that's one of the grammar points we're going over. Just be aware that's why the star's there. Fernando is pasar la aspiradora. I want you to think of this as to run or to pass the vacuum cleaner, okay? La aspiradora is the vacuum cleaner. Pasar, if you remember pasar un rato con los amigos, it was like to spend or to pass time with. It's to run the vacuum cleaner in this case, okay? Bien, let's continue on. All right. Letra C. Mi papá quiere ayudar con los quehaceres, pero no cocina muy bien. Prefiere poner la mesa. My dad wants ayudar. Ayudar is a very useful word. It means to help. He wants to help con los quehaceres. Quehaceres is chores. That's what this whole topic is about. Pero no cocina muy bien. He doesn't cook well. And if you remember, la cocina was the kitchen, so cocinar, meaning to cook, makes logical sense. Prefiere poner la mesa. He prefers to set the table. Poner means to put, to place, or to set. In this case, we're using it as to set. Okay? Son las 4 y los invitados van a venir a las 5. Papá pone las decoraciones y Fernando envuelve un regalo para Manuel. So it's for los invitados. Now, you might have been able to guess this, and if it helps you, you can put invited ones. The English translation is guess, but the Spanish transliteration would be invited ones, and that might help you remember it. Are going to venir, to come. Venir is tener's cousin. I'll explain more about that in the conjugation later, but it's got a weird, funky conjugation. A las 5. So they're going to come at 5. Papá pone las decoraciones. So he's putting the decorations, or he's decorar, which is to decorate. That one you should have probably gotten as well as a cognate. Y Fernando envuelve un regalo. Envuelve, it's an O-D-U-E. Envolver, it's to wrap. And what would he be wrapping? Of course, un regalo, the gift. Para Manuel. El globo, hopefully you can recognize that as a balloon. I should have put the balloon. And there's papel de regalo, which is wrapping paper. I didn't stick that on here because I figured you could figure it out. Cuando Manuel llega, todos dicen sorpresa. When Manuel arrives, everyone says sorpresa. Dicen comes from the verb decir. Decir is probably the weirdest conjugation of a verb you use all the time that you'll ever learn. So it's probably worth just memorizing, even though it does follow rules. It means to say or to tell. I will go over this verb's conjugation later, but just be aware. If you see dice or dicen, what looks like dice as part of the word, it's coming from this verb decir. Yo canto feliz cumpleaños a ti y mis padres bailan. So she is singing, and the parents are dancing. All right. Los invitados aquí. You hopefully could guess that invitar would mean to invite. That's another cognate. And we only have one word left. Ver means to see. We've learned mirar, which is to watch, and I'm adding ver, which is to see. And that, my dears, is your list. Now, two things. One, you need to share this list with me so I can see that you filled it in. That's your first task. That's what's going to get you your attendance points today. Secondly, to open your homework, you are going to need a password. I'm going to type that password here right now. Are you ready? Good? We're ready? We got it? Lavar el gato. All one word. Lavar el gato. All one word. If you don't have that, you can't open your homework, which if you didn't watch this video, you wouldn't have the password, would you? All right. If you have questions, as always, email me, hop on the Google Meet, etc., etc. Otherwise, buena suerte. Adios.